You open the app again. You told yourself you wouldn't. But here you are, swiping through faces like you're flipping through a catalog of people who might, maybe possibly, be the one. And somehow, after an hour of this, you feel more alone than when you started. That's a strange thing, isn't it? You have access to more potential partners than any human being in the history of the species. And yet dating has never felt more exhausting, more confusing, or more quietly demoralizing. Something is wrong, but it's not what you think. The real answer is far stranger than apps are bad or people are shallow. It goes deeper than that, much deeper, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with your brain. Your brain was not built for this, not even close. For the vast majority of human history, we're talking hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors lived in small, tight-knit groups of roughly 50 to 150 people. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar spent years studying this. He found that the human brain is structurally designed to maintain about 150 meaningful social relationships at one time. That's it. That's your limit. Not 150,000. Not 1,500. 150. In that ancient world, your dating pool was maybe 10 to 20 people of roughly compatible age. You knew all of them. You'd watch them eat, argue, help, and fail. You had real information, real context. And usually the process moved relatively quickly because you didn't have the option to wait for someone better to appear on a screen tomorrow morning. Now compare that to a Tuesday night in 2024. You have theoretically infinite options, millions of profiles, thousands of matches possible. And your brain, the same brain that evolved in a village of 150 people, is being asked to evaluate an endless parade of strangers based on a few photos and a line about loving hiking. It is, to put it gently, not coping. Psychologist Barry Schwartz called this the paradox of choice. The idea is simple. More options don't make you happier. They make you more anxious, more indecisive, and oddly less satisfied with whatever you do choose. Schwartz found that when people are given too many options, whether it's jam, retirement funds, or human beings, they freeze. They second guess. They wonder if the next one might be better, and that wondering never fully stops. Your brain registers this as low-level stress. Every swipe is a tiny micro-decision. Every match that doesn't lead anywhere is a tiny micro-rejection. Do this hundreds of times and your nervous system starts treating the dating app like a slot machine that mostly doesn't pay out. You keep pulling the lever anyway because occasionally it does. And that irregular reward, the match, the message, the connection, is exactly the kind of unpredictable reinforcement that behavioral psychologist B.F. Skinner identified as the most addictive pattern possible. Not guaranteed rewards, random ones. So you're not weak for finding this exhausting. You are, in fact, experiencing a perfectly rational response to a deeply irrational system. But here's where it gets stranger. Modern dating doesn't just overwhelm your choices. It changes how you see people. Researchers at the University of Vienna found that people who use dating apps regularly start to unconsciously evaluate potential partners more like consumers, evaluating products, than like humans seeking genuine connection. You begin looking for flaws faster. You dismiss more quickly. You keep a running mental comparison. Is this person better or worse than the last one I talked to? Is there someone better one swipe away? This is called the commodification of romance, and it isn't your fault. The apps are designed this way. The interface teaches you to behave this way. Profile photos are the first thing you see because humans make attractiveness judgments in milliseconds. Research from Princeton suggests the brain forms first impressions in as little as 1/10 of a second. The entire system is built on a cognitive shortcut your brain uses to survive, not to find love. And so you scroll, and you judge. And after a while, you start to feel a little hollow about it. Like you've spent an evening walking through a supermarket without buying anything and somehow came home hungrier than before. Now add the performance layer. Dating today isn't just about meeting people. It's about presenting a version of yourself that's curated, lit correctly, and carefully worded. Your bio has to be witty, but not trying too hard. Your photos have to be attractive, but natural looking. Your opening message has to be clever, but not weird. Every interaction is an audition, and you're auditioning constantly for people you've never met who are also auditioning for you. Sociologist Irving Goffman described human social life as a kind of theater. We all play roles, manage impressions, and perform versions of ourselves depending on our audience. That was true long before smartphones. But dating apps have turned that theater into a 24-hour production with an infinite audience and no intermission. Your brain cannot sustain this. It was designed to be known by a small group of people over a long period of time. Deep familiarity, slow trust, the gradual lowering of walls. What modern dating asks instead is for you to perform your most appealing self, repeatedly, for strangers who will decide in seconds whether you're worth their time. That's not romance. That's a job interview that never ends. And then there's the ambiguity. In your grandparents' era, or even just a generation ago, the social scripts around dating were clearer. You met someone, you asked them out, you called them your boyfriend or girlfriend at some point. The milestones were defined. Not perfect, not always healthy, but at least legible. Today, nobody knows what anything means. You've been talking to someone for 3 weeks. Are you dating? Seeing each other? Just talking? What's the difference between talking and dating? Are you exclusive, or are they still on the apps? Is it too soon to ask? Is asking itself going to scare them off? This ambiguity isn't a small thing. Psychologists call it relational uncertainty. And it turns out that not knowing where you stand with someone activates the same stress response as an actual threat. Your brain hates uncertainty the way it hates hunger or pain. It reads the unknown as danger and starts scanning for signals, overanalyzing texts, and running worst-case scenarios. Because in the ancient world, social ambiguity often meant you were about to be rejected from the group, and rejection from the group, back then, meant death. Your brain never quite got the update that a read receipt isn't a survival issue. So you overanalyze, you screenshot. You send the screenshot to 3 friends and ask what it means. You draft a response, delete it, draft it again. You wait exactly long enough to not seem desperate, but not so long that you seem uninterested. This is exhausting, and it is also, objectively, a little bit insane. Here's what the Stoics would say about all of this. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, one of the most powerful men alive in the 2nd century, and apparently also a man who had a lot of time to think, wrote about the exhaustion of performing for others. He called it living according to external opinion rather than internal values. He said that most human suffering comes not from what actually happens to us, but from the story we tell ourselves about what it means. The swipe that didn't match, the text left unread, the situationship that evaporated. None of these things destroyed you, but the meaning you attached to them, what they said about your worth, your desirability, your future. That's what kept you up at night. The Stoic fix isn't to stop dating or to throw your phone into the ocean, tempting as that sounds. It's to separate what you can control from what you can't. You can control how honestly you show up. You can control whether you treat other people with genuine curiosity rather than as items in a catalog. You can control whether you let the ambiguity spiral into a story about your worth, or whether you simply wait for clarity without manufacturing panic. What you cannot control is whether someone swipes right. What you cannot control is whether the connection grows. What you cannot control is the timeline, or the other person's readiness, or the randomness of who happens to appear in your feed on a given night. Modern dating is exhausting because it asks you to perform constantly, choose endlessly, and interpret everything, while offering very little of what your brain actually needs: time, familiarity, and the quiet of being slowly known by someone who isn't going anywhere. That's not a flaw in you. That's a mismatch between ancient hardware and modern software. And the next time you close the app and feel that strange flatness, not sadness exactly, just a kind of low hum of nothing, remember that you opened it looking for connection. That impulse is not pathetic. It's the oldest human hunger there is. The apps just weren't built to feed it. You open the app again, but maybe now you know why it's so hard and what to do instead of blaming yourself for feeling it.